Hey guys, hello, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Steven. I am on a layover here in Atlanta and I have just enough time here to eat a little something, do my regular skincare regimen, and then jump in bed. It's not a very long layover, but I thought it was a great opportunity to film a video about my skincare regimen. Over the past 2 years, I've received sporadic requests to talk about skincare, but over the past 5 or 6 months, I think it might be because my subscriber rate has kind of risen quite a bit. But a lot of guys have asked me through Messenger and emails for some suggestions on skincare. Now that's a hard topic to cover for everyone because I think pretty much everybody has a different focus that they would like to take care of. Years ago, in some of the sort of authority I have when it comes to skincare, years ago I was a makeup artist for a number of companies. I ended up being a makeup artist or sort of a regional makeup artist for Versace in Boston. But I had to work my way up, going from Clinique, Estee Lauder, Clarins, and then I got this magic opportunity to work for Versace. But I really had to learn a lot about skincare, and I had access to a ton. When I was working at Neiman Marcus, I had access to all of the best skincare in the country. And I'll tell you, when you see what I really have stayed using, I fell in love with and used continually since then, you may be a little surprised since I had access to everything. But I want to film a little video and talk about my skincare that I have been using for a while, for years. And then introduce 2 new things to my skincare regimen, one of which I will continue to use probably indefinitely because I just love it. The other I love using, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So what I'm going to do right now is first, I'm going to be starting with this sponge. It's a konjac sponge. I was calling it Kojak last week, but it's very hard. So in a moment, I'm going to pause. I'm going to submerge this into some hot water and get it nice and soft, and then I'll start my basic skincare. So I will see you in a moment. All right, so I've rehydrated this little sponge. And if you're a guy's guy, if you're like a manly man and you want to just learn about basic skincare, and this is, you know, buying a fancy sponge is not for you, you can certainly do this with just a washcloth. I think using something to create some cleansing action is terribly important. I used to use, and I've showed you this about 1,000 years ago, this little brush. I used to buy this, it's kind of wet now. The bristles here are very soft, and there's like a silicone kind of scrubby thing on the other side. I bought this at Marshall's for I think like $5, $6, $7. And I used to use this to kind of actively clean my face rather than just spread cleanser on my face and rinse it off. So if you're a guy's guy and you don't want to buy a sponge, you don't want to use a little brush, use a face cloth, just a wet face cloth. This sponge and something else I'm going to show you later on is a scrub. Were both gifted to me by Teami. Teami is the tea company that I am in love with. They sent me two different types of tea, and that stuff has sort of allowed me to survive days like today that were almost a 13-hour work day. If it weren't for the tea, I don't know if I would have survived this quite as easily. But so they sent me these 3 of these sponges. This one's green tea. There's a lavender and a chamomile as well. And they sent me this scrub. I was a little hesitant, I will promise. I will tell you. I was very hesitant, actually not just a little, because I'm a fan of a company doing one thing and doing it well. So if you make tea, I want to drink your tea. I don't know if I want to trust skincare. You know, I don't want to buy a car from Kroger, you know, a grocery store. But Teami likes to prove me wrong. So what I'm going to do is use a little Purity Made Simple. This is my favorite face wash in the world. There's a couple I like. There's a soy face wash by Fresh. This one, Clinique makes a liquid face soap that's just fantastic. But I am in love with Purity Made Simple, and one of my subscribers sent this to me for Christmas. Very happy. So I'm just using a little drizzle. And one of the reasons I like a sponge or a brush is that if I were just putting this on my hand, I would really need a whole bunch more to get the effect I want. So I can be a little bit more economical when using a cleanser that's not cheap. So I'm going to use this. My face is dry. Let me point out my concerns. My concern, some people might have different concerns, is flakiness. Now, can you see right there? Little flaky. And if you look up here, there's a little activity. There's just a little bit under the skin. Right there, my skin is rough right there, a little before. And my skin is just not shiny. It's not glowy. It doesn't have any sort of life to it. Mind you, I'm 50. So I'm just gonna, on a damp sponge, I'm gonna dab my cleanser and just kind of rub it around. When, oh God, I always forget her name. She's the girl, the lady from Teamy that I talked to on email. It starts with an N, I think. Nicole, Natalie, I'm so sorry, honey. She said, oh, you know what, I'm gonna send you some of our sponges. I said, oh, that'd be great. After, I don't usually wear a shirt when I'm cleansing my face. She's like, I want to send you some of our sponges. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. After reading about them, I was like, oh, that's just awesome. Thank you. And you can see it kind of gets fluffy. I said, that's just awesome. Thank you. I would love that. Because after reading the descriptions online, I was hearing that they do a little gentle exfoliation. Exfoliation is everything for me. They do a little exfoliation, and she responded by email saying that if exfoliation is really one of my concerns, aren't I sexy right now? If exfoliation is one of my concerns, then I might enjoy the green tea face scrub, and so she sent me that too. How nice is this? Who knew getting a YouTube channel would start getting me skincare? Who knew? So I'm just using, and you notice it's not like a giant foam. This isn't like an Ivory soap commercial. Do they even do commercials anymore? I'm just washing my face gently. Now, normally I would then, I'm going to spend about a minute scrubbing around. And this just feels very, the little bumps inside here just feel like very massage-like. They just feel very gentle and rolling. It's not scratchy or anything like that. So I'm gonna rinse this off real quick and I'll show you the end result. All right, so I just finished rinsing and I dried. Now, if you look, if you go back a little bit and see before I washed my face, my forehead really didn't look as kind of glowy almost. Radiant, dare I say. But even along my cheekbone, which is almost a cheekbone, I really don't have any bone structure. My nose, and you'll notice the flakiness is gone. Just using a sponge and some cleanser. Boom, that really could be it, but not for me. This is the sponge. It's by Teamy. This is the green tea infused one. There's a chamomile and a lavender. I will admit to you that I tasted, I'm not that weird, but I don't think anyone else has done this. I literally tasted the water I soaked this in, just in case to see if there's any green tea feel. No, so it tastes like a sponge. There is a little string on here, and I guess this is typical for the konjac sponge. And you would hang it for it to dry, and it reverts back to that super hard, crispy kind of cookie feel. The challenge is, for me and my lifestyle, is this is a wet sponge. It's going into my either cosmetic case, my toiletry case, a Ziploc bag, a cup, something, and being stored in my luggage. Now, for a 2 or 3 day trip, that might be okay, but knowing me, I'm gonna forget it in my luggage and come back a week later, and it's gonna be a breeding ground. A wet breeding ground for gross stuff. So this, for me as a flight attendant, isn't gonna work. I might have to stay with my brush. If I were not a flight attendant and I were at home every day, amazing, glory, hallelujah. You're just hanging up over your sink or maybe the handle of your sink, and you're good. I don't know how long they last, but I would certainly buy it. It costs like $7 for a little sponge, but it feels nice, and I feel like I've just done something. There's a ritual to my cleansing, and it's just been really nice. Now I am going to jump right into a scrub. Now before using this, I would sometimes carry my Clairsonic Mia, which is like think of a sonic toothbrush, but for your face. Yeah, I would carry that around in my luggage, and it weighs like a pound plus, and I take the cord because I always forget to charge it. Now I can just throw this on my luggage and use this. So I much prefer this. I hate to say it, over my Mia, because I've used that Mia for probably 10 years, and it's done me well. You know, one of the things I find kind of funny about the requests I've had to talk about skincare, one of the things I find funny is I'm not the beauty ideal for men. Look at me. I'm 50. A 50-year-old middle-aged man. The fact that anyone was asking me suggestions for skincare is kind of weird. And part of that insecurity is in that if you look, it's hard to see right now because my skin's doing pretty good right now. But all along here, if you go back to my older videos where I'm tan, like last summer, you'll notice that the rest of my face is like golden, but the middle of my face right here is lighter in tone and almost kind of rose. And you might think, oh, he just got some sun or is a little sunburn. I have what I think is called seborrheic dermatitis. If I were to skip my skincare for a week, and I were to turn the camera on my face, you would be able to see me be able to peel up sheets of skin. It's really not good looking. But let me stop talking about that. So I find it weird that people ask me for skincare advice when my skin really is a nightmare. But when I take care of it regularly, I look like this. All right, so I'm gonna pause again. I'm gonna put this scrub in my face so you don't have to watch every second of my life here. All right, I lied. All I did while I was off camera was moisten my face. So I just used probably about that much, not to stick my middle finger at you, but about that much on my fingertip. And I'm just kind of gently spreading it around my face. My big concerns are fine lines, because I'm 50. Are fine lines, flakiness around this area that I just talked about, my forehead, which is just like a labyrinth of wrinkles. And if you look, see right here, right there, and right there, and right there, and right there. I have a lot of sun damage because I never wore sunscreen for probably 20 years. I would go and sit in the sun on Cape Cod in Provincetown for 8 hours straight. No sun. I mean, no sunscreen at all. So I'm just massaging this around. I'm going to moisten my hand a little bit. And typically I would do this in the shower. A little more effective, a little neater. And going back in here. Now this is a sugar scrub. It's a green tea sugar scrub by Teamy. And I had never used a sugar scrub on my face. I've used a sugar scrub on my body, but never on my face. And I know a few of you are right now saying, Stephen, I can make my own sugar scrub. I can make a sugar scrub. It's cheap and easy. Guess who is not going to make a sugar scrub? Me. I'm not gonna go through the effort of making a sugar scrub when I can just buy a jar that's going to last me months. So thank you. So a sugar scrub is going to sort of dissolve into being very smooth. At first, when you start using it, it feels kind of like Pop Rocks on your face. It's not explosive, but it definitely feels like Pop Rocks. And I'm massaging kind of firmly and rubbing around. And I'm going to take probably a minute and a half around my whole face. And right now I'm going to focus up here on my sun damage. and really work it in. All right, I think it's time for a rinse. And oh, before I rinse, I'm going to show you, you'll see me focusing up here too, because the fine lines that show up here when I smile, that go away when I stop smiling for the most part. I'm going to focus there because I want to exfoliate the heck. I want Barbie skin. I want it so smooth that it looks like plastic. It's not going to happen, but I can try. My pores on my nose are pretty big. Blah, blah, blah. Complain, complain, complain. All right, so I'm going to rinse. See you in a sec. Ooh, that was refreshing. If you Google Erno Laszlo was, I don't know what he would be called, an esthetician, something like that, in the 20s. And he was really one of the first guys to really create real skincare regimens. And one of his defining elements of skincare was to splash. And I think you splashed 25 times. When you washed your face with your soap, his black soap is very famous, you would splash 25 times. And that was part of the regimen to hydrate and to exfoliate and blah, blah, blah. So I do 25 splashes. When I rinse my face, I do 25 splashes in the sink. And I get water everywhere. And since I live alone, I don't have to clean it up. All right, so I have just patted my skin dry. And you can kind of see where it's a little rosy now, because that's where my skin really starts to act up. But if you notice, like, there's a kind of a little bit of a glow to my skin there. I know I look like a 50-year-old guy and I shouldn't be glowing, but my skin feels like, I wouldn't say silk. I almost said ceramic. I don't know why, but it's super, super smooth. And to me, the fine lines just don't show up as much until I start moving my face. Then they all show up again. But the skin right around my cheekbones, my nose, you can see it's super shiny. Everything just feels polished and fresh and great without being dry, because so often when I would really, really go in and scrub, I feel like I'm scrubbing all of the beneficial bits of my skin away in search of that smoothness. So this is the Teamy Green Tea Facial Scrub. Hydrate, exfoliate, and moisturize. Let's see if I can read some of the ingredients here. So sugar, that's good to know. Water, organic, I can't read that. Caramel sinensis, whatever. Oh, it's matcha tea. Sorbitol, sodium, cetyl. It's a little bit of a soapy bit. I can't read that. Pruna ducus. Sweet almond oil, lemongrass, botanical essences. So real life stuff, like natural stuff, is in here. I really, really like it. It's $30 if you pay full price, but Teamy's always on sale. If you check out their website, something is on sale all the time. But this is something I'm really going to be buying in the future. The contact sponge, maybe not, only because of my lifestyle. If I lived at home every day, I'd stay there. So cleansing, scrubbing, exfoliating, done. Now, this is something not everyone's going to do. This video is going to be super long. I'm so sorry. So I told you some of my favorite products that I've been using for probably 20, 25 years, really. I've gone away from it and I've come back to it. I've gone away and come back. Is for the most part Clinique. I know, it's not terribly exciting. My tastes run Clinique on one end or Creme de la Mer on the other. Now, if I could afford a jar of Creme de la Mer, a 1 ounce jar is probably, right now, it's probably about $125 or $130. Back when I used to sell it, it was much cheaper. But Creme de la Mer is my favorite product in the world. It's very insulating. So if you live in a very cold environment or a very dry environment, it sort of creates a little thermo kind of protective area for your skin, and it just hydrates and moisturizes. It's beautiful. I think there's like antibacterial elements to it or something. It's based on like fermented kelp or something. gorgeous, but I can't afford it. And I've been using this stuff, Clinique, for almost 25 years, and I don't think I look that bad for a 50-year-old. So one of the things about Clinique, and this is a step I used to tell people they could skip, and now I disagree. I use their clarifying lotion. I use number 3, which is pretty strong. It is, for me, it's like disinfecting. If I've gone in and vigorously scrubbed, now I feel that, I'll tell you, I've just vigorously scrubbed my skin. Now, I'm not a scientist, but in my mind, I have just created a lot of microscopic little scratches on my skin. And for me, what I'm doing here with this is, Clinique is going to say this is their exfoliation because there is salicylic acid in this. But for me, it's almost like cleaning my skin so that those little microscopic scratches don't turn into a pimple or some sort of irritation. So I'm going in and I blame clarifying lotion number 3 for the fact that I don't have acne across my forehead and the sides of my face. Who knew I would talk this much about skincare? For years, I'd say about 15 years, I would have chronic activity across my forehead, right across the middle, and for some reason always dead center between my brows. I'd have like a giant pimple, and I'd poke it, and I'd poke it, and it turned into a cyst, and then I would have a little acne on the side of my face, and that's mostly because I would use hand cream at night, and I'd fall asleep like a little angel with my hands next to my face. And that is one of the reasons I think I broke out on the side of my face. But I use clarifying lotion religiously across my forehead, around here, and this is dry. Wait, let me dry this off. Can you see how kind of, it looks fresh, doesn't it? All right, so I use 2 different eye creams. One is, this is a little sample size because one of the reasons I love Clinique too, besides the products, they work, they're cheap-ish. They're not that cheap, but they're definitely affordable. And they always come in, they always sell small sizes so I can take it with me for my work. This is actually a sample size I got. It's one of my favorite eye creams ever. And I've used a lot of eye creams. And this is called All About Eyes. And I'm just going to put it right. Yeah, I know my nails are long. I know half of you have already looked and made judgment on my nails. I don't really like long nails. There you go, you can see them. I don't really like the long nails, but guess who does like my long nails? My cats. The cats like my nails. Now, an eye cream, they say, is not supposed to go all the way up to your eye. Oh well. I put it up there and I put it up here. And you know why I put it up here? Because I know what my mother looks like. Her eyes up here are always crepey. It almost looks like crepe paper. And if you ever notice, you probably don't study my face, but if you look at me, I have this nice little sort of crease here, this little sunken area. And by 50, everyone else in my family, it looks like that's all collapsed. I really do credit having used eye cream for my entire adult life to having at least my eyes look normal. So I'm just using tiny bits and I'm massaging it under my eye, which has I've always had these dark circles under my eyes, and I'm probably not going to ever wear concealer as I used to. But these days, honestly, when I see a guy my age with a full face of concealer, foundation, then you start using a little highlighter, and pretty soon I'm in drag. So I don't care about the little bit of darkness under my eyes. Under this eye, there's a larger bag. See it right here than there is on this side. It's just my face. Gravity. I'm 50. Eye cream. Every day. If you're a guy, manly man, buy an eye cream. All About Eyes. The other eye cream I use, I'll show you in a minute. Then I'll follow through with dramatically different moisturizer. There is this one, which is just a regular hydrating gel. I'm sorry, they have a couple. This is their gel. There's also like a regular lotion. There's an oil-free version, and then there's a regular everyday version. I will use either. In the summertime, I'll probably use the oil-free more likely than not, because I live in the desert and I get very sticky as I sweat. So I dab a little there, and I'll blend it up my giant forehead that extends back to the back of my head. Kind of blend it up. Little dab right here. Side of my nose, bring it up into my brow. There we go. I know who else can make a simple skincare regimen take 25 minutes, right? Me. Ta-da. So I am going right back over the eye cream, sides of my nose that usually get flaky, and then whatever's left on my fingertips, I'm blending around to the side, because I really don't need to hydrate the side of my face. That doesn't get dry. What gets dry and kind of patchy is right here, right between my brows, sides of my nose, and I blend the rest out, and that's it. Ta-da! I know you think I'm gonna stop talking, but I'm not. So if I just rested for a minute or two, the redness that is all over here would calm down, because I've been, massaging my face, and my face really is super sensitive around here. One of the other reasons I like Clinique so much is there's really almost nothing that's going to aggravate my skin, unless you're super sensitive to salicylic acid. Then the clarifying lotion might sting a little bit, but if once you get through that, it feels good. Something's happening. It's working. And there you go. So I don't know what you think, but if you go back to the beginning of this video and I show you my skin, where it was all flaky, it was kind of dull, I think that looks pretty good. I'm not going to wear foundation or anything. I do have a little YSL Yves Saint Laurent little pen called Touche Éclat that I used to use under my eyes a little bit, but it's too expensive. It's like 50 bucks. But I mentioned earlier another eye cream that I like, and this is it. It's by Philosophy, the same company who makes the cleanser I like a lot. This is called Hope in a Tube. Now it's an eye and lip cream. It is almost goo. It's so thick. And I don't need to put it on because I already put eye cream and stuff on, but I'll show you its texture. So I would use this at nighttime when I need a little extra. I mean, look at that. That's like 15 times too much. So it's an eye and lip cream. So when they say eye and lip cream, they mean around the eye, and I personally believe they mean around the mouth, around the lip. You know those people, especially women, who will make either a facial expression where they pinch their lips, or if you smoke, you'll find these little baby fine lines around your lips where your lipstick kind of goes in there and bleeds into those little lines. If you use moisturizer around your lip at nighttime, sometimes that can help a little bit. But Estee Lauder makes a product for that. If you really do have a problem with lipstick bleeding into your around your mouth, Estee Lauder makes a nice product to stop that from happening. So I have been known to use this all over my face as a moisturizer if I'm super, super, super dry, because the tube is almost 2 ounces. So I'm just gonna get it on my lip too. But so I would use that eye cream if it were the dead of winter and it was super, super cold and I'm very, very dry. Or if I'm trying to give myself like a mask, a moisture mask at nighttime. So I'll put that on my eyes as well. But now I'm like almost fluorescent. I'm like so shiny. But hold on one second. Oh, I'll just use it. Why pause? I'm gonna use a tissue and just kind of blot. If I were running out of the house and going to work right now, I would just gently blot. Nothing gross, but just to take away the wetness. Thank goodness for editing, because I just went on for like 15 more minutes. It was not good. No. So a few minutes after applying all that stuff, even that thick, gooey eye cream that I sometimes really like a lot, after that's all kind of settled in, I think you'll notice like my skin just looks fresh and smooth, and it is. It feels like a baby's bottom. Now, mine, except for, you know, that little bit of this eye, I think it's this eye that's worse. Or is it this eye? It's this eye that's worse. See the little extra bag I have right there? It's not good. I would love some surgery. I would like some surgery just under my eyes to kind of smooth things out a little bit. But my skin feels good. It looks good. I'm very, very happy with it. Again, I'm 50 years old. And if you look at some 50-year-old guys, their skin doesn't look like that. Pretty happy. So quick synopsis of what I used. I would use my contact sponge every day if I were home. Every day when I'm at work, probably not, because it's just a wet sponge, and it does take a long time to dry out. So I would use, I would take this brush with me on trips to cleanse. Again, Purity Made Simple, fantastic cleanser. If you wear makeup, this takes everything off. It's fantastic. Your eyes don't get like stingy or red, at least mine don't. So it takes off everything, mascara, lipstick, it's amazing. I cleanse. I will scrub with my teeny green tea cleanser scrub. I would probably do this every other day gently, or every 3 days, 3-4 days, but I would really get in there and work it. Don't tell anybody. This is not, a dermatologist would shudder at the sheer idea, but I have been known to, on this little silicone scrubby thing, I've been known to apply my scrub and really get in there. Don't tell, because it's really not good, but I have done it. I would use this personally probably every other day. Clarifying lotion number 3 for me, if you have more sensitive skin, they have a 1, and the 2 is nice too. The 3 has a little bit more get ya. The 4 again is like napalm if you're super oil slick. Eye cream, all about eyes, my favorite. I will use, where is it? Philosophy Hope in a Tube when I really need that extra goo. And then as an all-over moisturizer, dramatically different moisturizing. If you walk up to Clinique and say, "Hi, can I get some DDNL?" That's this. The tube is fantastic. This size tube, which is 1.7 ounces, which would last me a real long time, months, because I just use a dab. I use a couple dabs. This is, I think, $14, $14.50, something like that, and it really is fantastic. So those are the things I use for my skincare most days. So I thought I would share that with you. If you have any comments, if you want me to expand about anything, certainly let me know. Leave a comment below, and I'll do my best to answer those questions, as I try to anyway. I'm going to jump in bed because I'm wiped out, right? You have a good night, fly safe, and I'll talk to you later.